Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy. This mic just kind of, it's so big, and I have not found the stand in our, as we continue to unpack, I have not found the stand for it. But I'll say this microphone just makes me want to sing. And that's a shout out to not only previous episodes when I have sung that song, but also to Danny Sparks, good friend and listener of the pod. The episode today is on AI and our pursuit of the higher. Now, for most teachers within maybe any discipline right now, there's a lot of hesitation around AI. I told the story of being friends with Sam Altman and the OpenAI team early on, and completely oblivious, even as a full-time startup investor at the time. This was before starting Magic Mind and in between my last company and starting Magic Mind, and I was full-time angel investing in I just laugh as I say this out loud. Game-changing technology companies meeting in the lobby in the conference room of the dingy offices of OpenAI in the early days. And I didn't invest. I ended up investing later on, but didn't invest in the early days. And the most game-changing technology built in the last 10 years was right in front of me. And I thought they were completely lost. So I'm not very good at my job. But this role of AI within any discipline we are pursuing, I am a major fan. For a few reasons, but a lot of teachers, and I actually saw a video recently of a pastor putting the kibosh on AI. Basically saying, be very careful, without saying don't use it, because they'd get lit up if they were that forceful, but essentially steering people away from it and steering them to, I guess, their videos, but steering people away from what I view as the most dynamic, comprehensive library and almost instantaneous library that humans have ever come up with. It's a library. And it happens to be incredibly dynamic and nearly instantaneous to ask it any questions that you have. But it is a wealth of resources around anything knowledge-based that is incomparable to anything that humans have developed previously. It is outrageous. I think Bill Gates said, he put it best when he said, the AI revolution is bigger than the internet revolution and bigger than the mobile revolution. It's bigger than the internet itself. But all of this preambles to say, I think using it for questioning is not just natural, it's a powerful part of our questioning. I've chatted before, I think I did an episode called ChatGPT, where we ask AI, we ask ChatGPT a prompt that was, if knowing everything that you know about psychology, philosophy, religion, and science, which philosophy, according to your expert opinion, most accurately describes what's going on in the universe? So you ask it that, and it's phenomenal what answer comes up. And then you can, it's usually something, I even created a new blank account, paid the $200 for a deep research pro account so that I could ask it this question for that episode, ChatGPT. So you can look that up to see what answer it gives. Or you could ask it yourself. And it gives a slightly different worded answer each time. Sometimes it's idealistic monism. Sometimes it's monistic idealism. But monistic idealism, it's not monastic, it's not monk-like, it's monistic, monism, meaning oneness. Idealism is the philosophy of the universe is a projection of our minds, is an idea, idealism. But we're not going to rehash that for this episode. We're going to jump into, instead of the deepest end of the pool, we're going to jump into what it says, the shallow end. We're going to ask it this. Knowing everything you know about the world philosophies, such as Advaita Vedanta, what are the 3 main points of the philosophy of Advaita Vedanta for anyone that is coming to this philosophy for the first time? So we're going to ask it that and see what it comes up with. And then that will be the reflection for today on the introductory side of things, which honestly you can't spend enough time on, because this philosophy is all about the reflection of these principles, introductory or not. Okay, here we go. I'm not even going to splice it or edit or anything. It's just, I did make a huge swallowing noise right then, but we're going to leave it in because I don't want to edit this at all. For someone approaching Advaita Vedanta for the first time, 3 main points capture the essence. Brahman alone is real. In parentheses, it says the absolute. So Brahman, the absolute alone is real. Brahman is Sanskrit for the vast. The foundation is the non-dual reality. These are sub-bullets to that title that I just gave. The foundation is the non-dual reality. Brahman, infinite, unchanging consciousness, beyond all attributes. Everything we perceive as separate, world, beings, events, is ultimately a manifestation of this one reality. The Upanishadic Mahavakya, great saying, Mahavakya is Sanskrit for great saying. Brahman is the only truth. The world is mithya, dependent reality. Like a shadow, this is James talking now, like a shadow is dependent on a higher reality, which is the stone or the rock. The Upanishadic Mahavakya, great saying, Brahman is the only truth. The world is mithya, dependent reality. Sums this up. Point number 2, the self, Atman, is not different from Brahman. This is James speaking now. Self is the vast. Brahman being Sanskrit for the vast, or the absolute. The self is the vast, the absolute. Here are the sub-bullets. Our true identity is not the body, mind, or ego, but the inner witness, Atman. Advaita declares, Tattvam Asi. This is another Mahavakya, by the way. Advaita declares, Tattvam Asi, that thou art. You are not a part of the absolute. You are not separate from it. You are it. This shifts the seeker from identifying with limited roles, parent, entrepreneur, thinker, to recognizing the unbounded self, capital S, self. Okay, and point 3. Ignorance, avidya, that's the Sanskrit word for ignorance, creates the illusion of separation. The sense of duality, me and the world, subject and object, arises from avidya, ignorance. Through inquiry, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, listening, reflection, deep meditation, this ignorance dissolves. Liberation, moksha, Sanskrit for liberation is moksha, is not acquiring something new, but recognizing what was always the case, one's true nature as Brahman. In short, here are the 3 bullets in short. In short, only Brahman is real. You are that. Atman equals Brahman, in parentheses next to that. Ignorance veils this truth, and knowledge removes the veil. And then it says, would you like me to lay out the practical entry points? How a beginner might actually live and practice Advaita day to day, not just understand its metaphysics. Well, the way to do that is, because I don't want to do an episode of multiple inquiries into ChatGPT, but the way to do that, according to the ashram that we study with, is to question everything, the daily entry points. Question everything. Every seemingly strong intuition we have, or our preferences for this over that. Question everything. The idea that we are this little speck named James. That's an entrepreneur, that's a dad, and that's my role, that's who I am, that's everything that I am. Maybe that's not. Question everything that we're told, every intuition or assumption that we might have within ourselves. Question everything. Don't take anything for granted. Good or bad, don't take it for granted. Get some financial windfall, get some promotion at work. You're born with 2 legs. You get a cancer diagnosis. Don't take any of it for granted. And third, the third daily practice that pairs with the perennial practices of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, which is listening, reflection, and deep meditation. The third daily practice is study and reflect daily, which I say all the time on this podcast project, to study, reflect daily, because there is no cure for the virus of attachment. Attachment being the cause of all of our suffering. There is no cure for it. There is just a daily shot, a daily inoculation from the virus that is so easily caught from 3-4 days, 3 weeks away from timeless truths. Study and reflect daily. But there you go. Those 3 bullets, those 3 main points that capture the essence of this philosophy, I'd say is pretty spot on. And what's so beautiful about AI is you can ask this question and your own follow-up questions to your own AI application of choice, ChatGPT or Google's Gemini, any of them out there. You can ask your own follow-up questions. And I think it is one powerful resource that tends to be more right than it is inaccurate in my experience. It was certainly right in those 3 points. It laid them out. That's one hell of a thought flow. And it would be hard to get that from a teacher live when you have that question. The last thing I'll add here is there are different ways of teaching within this philosophy. And if you don't have an AI chatbot that you have downloaded or paid for, or you want to ask a question within the lineage that I have learned from, Swami Parthasarathi, they are pretty close. There isn't a huge distinction between the lineages of Advaita Vedanta, but this specific lineage from the teacher, Swami Parthasarathi, the author of Vedanta Treatise, that I'm recommending all the time on this podcast. Phenomenal read and overview of the philosophy. But if you want to ask a question from this perspective, you can go to thedailyvedantic.com. And I took the time to create a free chatbot. You don't have to create an account or anything. But thedailyvedantic.com, and you can ask any and all questions on that you want to. Thedailyvedantic.com, and I've got a chat TDV that I built that's informed by the 550, 650 episodes of this podcast project. And you can ask any question and any follow-up to those questions there for free right now. So on the topic of AI and philosophy, I say AI away. Go nuts with it. Ask as many questions as you can, because what gets reinforced beyond just the answers you might receive is that muscle to question. And building that muscle is the entry point to all of the answers that you are seeking. That is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.